host of the Tudor Dixon podcast. That would be Tudor Dixon. I got that right, Tudor. Sorry about that. Getting tongue-tied. So listen, in the presidential race last night, again, per our voter analysis, economy and inflation, number one issue. You run for office, so have I. It is bizarre that if that's the number one issue, the presidential candidate on the Democrat ticket wouldn't talk about it, wouldn't lay out policies on how to fix it. She would talk about being raised in a middle-class family. We saw a great expansion of the Republican tent. New groups came in big numbers. Do you think those voters stay with the Republican Party, or is this a one-off, one-time deal?
Well, I think it is incumbent upon the Republican Party to stay with them, to be honest. I think we need to make sure that we continue to talk to them, that we continue to bring them to the table. And that's what you saw in Dearborn. This was a meeting of the minds. Donald Trump went and met with them. Many people from his campaign met with them. And then when they had complaints about some of the things that Donald Trump would say, they called him and they felt they had a direct line. I think that's the difference between the Democrat side or honestly, many past Republicans as well. Donald Trump has not left them. When they had a concern, they went right to him, and he actually went to Dearborn. He went to Hamtramck. He met with them. I think that's a lesson for everybody running for office, but especially Republicans. Stay with the people.
You just hit on just a microcosm of, or something that perfectly encapsulates and exemplifies how broad the Trump coalition was. With this sweeping run-the-table victory. Because Bill Bozzi, the mayor of Dearborn Heights, Michigan, stumped for President Trump. He was enthusiastically campaigning for him, and he is a Muslim and Michigan mayor. He's Arab. And then also, Amir Ghalib was the mayor of nearby Hamtramck, both Muslim Arab leaders stumping for Trump. And it just speaks to how people just wanted a better economy and a better life for their own constituents.
Yeah, and you know, I heard from one of them who told me something very interesting. He said, in this entire time, for decades, we have been Democrats and we have lived under a Republican majority. But this past 2 years, it's been a Democrat majority in Michigan. And they had, I don't know if you remember, but the Hamtramck had decided that they would only allow city, state, and country and the U.S. flag on their city buildings. And they were punished by the Democrats in the legislature for that. He said they actually pulled funding. And he said, think about that. We had never agreed with the Republicans, but they never punished us for it, and the Democrats punished us. I think this is the new side of the Democrat Party that we're seeing. It's like this backlash and the political warfare and all of this. It's not sitting well with the people, and I think it's an opportunity for Republicans to say, we can come to the table with you and negotiate.
So Shawn Fain, the president of the United Auto Workers labor union, famously and aggressively endorsed Kamala Harris, was attacking Donald Trump. Any sense on the ground how well the auto workers came out, whether for Harris or for Trump?
Well, we're hearing that they came out big for Donald Trump, and if you look back at the past few months in the state of Michigan alone, we've had major layoffs. But just before the election, you had Ford come out and say that they were going to lay off everybody at the Lightning F-150 plant from the middle of November through January, and that was just a maybe through January. It could go further, but think about that. Everybody gets laid off at the holidays. It's a terrible look, and I think the auto workers are just they're uneasy about whether the future is really there. And with these mandates that Harris was demanding, they didn't believe that their jobs were safe in the state of Michigan or in the Rust Belt in general. And I believe that's why they came out in droves for Donald Trump.
All Shawn Fain did was trash talk President Trump instead of helping his actual workers. He got on the side of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, whose very policies with the tailpipe emissions regulations would put his UAW workers out of a job. And here's what Shawn Fain had to say today. It's time for Washington, D.C. to put up or shut up, no matter the party, no matter the candidate. I'd be surprised if Shawn Fain has a job.
You know, we've spent a lot of money on the auto industry in the state of Michigan. I think that's offensive to all Michigan people. Hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars have gone into those jobs. And here, that's the repayment we get is a threat from Shawn Fain. He doesn't understand that his auto workers and the people of Michigan support him.
Come on, Shawn Fain, get with it. Tudor Dixon, good to see you. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.